Hi, I'm Jeff, 3D Puzzle Builder. In this video, we're going to be working on step 2 from the ROKR Chocolate Factory Marble Run model LGA02. Now, if you need to catch up, you can always go back to previous videos for each one of the steps. In this step, step 2, we're going to need sheets A, C, D, G1, I, and some parts from P. Now I've got my parts laid out here. All of my boards are laid out here. I'm going to move them back out of the way so we can start our work. And the parts that we're going to be needing, the P12, 14, and 15, are in this package here. As well as, it's not mentioned on the drawing, but we will also need the wax. All right, so to start off with, we need part A5. So I'm going to bring my sheet around and we're going to look for part A5. If you look, A5 is right here. Now you will notice also that some of these parts are colored and some parts have just some small marks on them. So pay attention to those because when it comes time to putting those parts together, it's real important which direction they face. So we're going to take part A5 and we're going to punch it out very carefully. You can hear the nibs breaking, and I find it's easy to utilize my thumb and push from the back towards the front. So there is part A5, and we're going to set that down here. Now I didn't mention also there are some tools that we're going to need that we built in the very first step. That is this tool. Oops, and turn it over here. This tool. As well as we may need this one in either this or the next part. And there should have been a little screwdriver. It's a Phillips screwdriver also. So we got part A5 pushed out. Now, the next part of this mentions C9. That is this tool right here. So we're going to need that. All right, moving on to this particular part of the installation. We need part P15, and you'll notice part P15 comes out of this bag. Part P15 is actually a nut. So I'm going to go ahead and get part P15, 14, and P12 out of here. Okay, there's one. And here is the other. Okay. P15, let me show you these here real quick. P15 is actually a lock nut. P14, excuse me, P14 is a square nut. So we've got those two out. We'll also need part A5. Oops, we've got part A5 out here already. Sorry about that. We also need part P18. P18 is a handle for the crank. Here is part P18. We'll lay that down here. The next part is part P12. Now, when you look at your packet of P parts, there are 2 screws in this packet. The screw that we're going to be using for this part is a partial thread screw. And I'll show you the difference here. Okay, these are both screws. This screw has got threads that go all the way down. This screw has got threads that only go part way. That is a partial thread. This is the one that we want. So we're going to set that down here. And also we'll need tool P22, our Phillips screwdriver. Okay, now there is something else on this particular installation step. You notice the little gray box right below all of the parts in the first part of this step. That indicates that the colored part faces out, or in this case, faces the handle. All right, so we're going to take part P12 and we're going to stick P12 through the handle, just like that. Then we're going to take part P14. Remember I said part P14 was the square nut. We're going to screw that square nut onto our screw. Just like that. Now, using our tool, if you look at the very end, it looks like a wrench. Well, it actually is. And this one doesn't have the size that I need. So just take your screwdriver, hold it, and tighten it up just a little bit. It doesn't have to be real tight. Just kind of snugged up so the handle part turns. All right, now we need to take our part A5, facing the handle, colored part facing the handle, and just push it in, just like that. Now we need part P15. That was our lock nut. Part P15 goes in. If you can't get the thread started, make absolutely sure that the plastic insert faces out. And screw that in. Now take our tool. That fits right in there. And we can tighten that up a little bit. Okay, and you just want to tighten it just to where the end is even with the nut. Doesn't stick through, but it's even. That gives us plenty of room there, and it gives us plenty of room here. All right, so that part is done. We're going to take that and we're going to lay it up here out of the way. The next step is going to take and make the rest of the crank. So, or another crank, excuse me. So what we're going to do here is we're going to find C19, and you'll notice on the drawings, C19 has 6 parts. So we're going to come to our C sheet. Here's our C sheet. And we're going to find C19. And let's see, C19, 10. I can find them here. C1, 17. Oh, I'm blind today. There they are. C19s right here. It's right there and right there. So we need 6 of these. So very carefully, I'm going to push 6 of these out. Again, pushing them through very carefully. So there's 1. There's 2. There's 3, and when you're pushing these, try to push them through evenly as you can. That's why you need to be very slow and patient. There's 4. There's 5. And there's 6. So we have our 6 P19s. Okay, in this particular step, we will need to use 5 of those C19s. So 1 goes to the next step. So I'm just going to take this and I'm going to move it out of the way over to my spares. Now there is another part that we need for this. This is part C14 off the C sheet. So again, let's look for C14. C14 is right here. Again, we're going to very carefully, using my thumb and my finger, I'm going to begin pushing this out. And you can hear the nibs breaking off on it. Just be very careful. Push straight down. All right, so there is part C14. Now this is part of what I was talking about earlier. You see these arrows right here? Those arrows, in this case, need to show. So when you're looking at the drawing, then this will actually be facing your right. So we need that part. Now that part is going to go to the next step also. Okay, now let's go back and pick up our original part because we're going to move on. Moving to the right, utilizing our crank, we need 2 G1Es. I forgot to punch those out. Let's go ahead and get those. Okay, here we go. Here's our sheet G. And looking over here, we've got G1A, G1B, G1C, G1D, and G1E. So we need 2 G1Es. We need 2 of these. Now these you're going to have to really be careful with. Punch them out individually. I'm using again my thumb and my finger. Now if the whole block pushes out, don't worry about it, that's fine. You just need to be able to keep track of them. So I'm going to push this out. Since these are real long, they are real easy to break. So be very, very careful when you're pushing these out. Okay. There's one, and we need two of them. The other one just came out real easy. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our crank and we're going to hold our crank in the same manner that we see it on our sheet. It looks just like this. And we're going to take these two G1Es and gently push them in just until, oops, there we go, just until the end reaches the outside. Doesn't have to push all the way through, just where it reaches the outside. And do the same thing with the other one. Now it might help to use something like this tool and hold it against the end to use as a stop to make sure you've got it all the way in. Now we're going to start installing in this case, the 5 C19s. So there's one. Rock them in. Very carefully push them all the way down until it flattens out. And follow through with all 5 of them. Here goes the other one. And the next one. You see they're pushing in and just flattening out just right. And the next one. It's kind of hard to do with a camera when I'm trying to watch my hands and the camera. That's why I kind of get out of the field of vision every once in a while. All right, and there is that one. So now I've got my handle with the 5 C19s and the 2 G1Es. So now that should look just like it looks on your drawing. Okay, now to follow on, still in step 2, the last part of this step, we need 1 C19, 1 D8, 2 I38s, 1 C14, and our wax. So let's start with our D8. So here's our D sheet. That's D7, 10, 14. D8's got to be right in here somewhere. And we know D8 is, there it is, right up there. It was kind of hiding. D8 is right here. So again, very carefully, have patience, push this through. Until it's all the way through. There we go. So now we have our part D8. Okay. We need our part C19. Remember we took out 6 C19s earlier. There's the one that we put away. Yeah, get my hand out of the way. There's the one that we put away that we're going to now utilize. We also need 2 I38s. So here's my I sheet, and we need 2 I38s, so that's going to be closer to the bottom of the sheet. And let's see, 17, 18, 35, 36, 32. So we've got to be somewhere in the right direction. Here we are. There's one I38 here, and there's an I38 up in the top of the corner. So we need 2 of those. So we're going to push these out. Now this sheet is a little thinner than the other sheet, so be very careful when pushing them through. There's one. And I know you can't see it because it's out of camera view, but I'm pushing out the other C38. So that gives us our 2 C38s. And we also need a C14. Okay, now we have our part C19, our part I38, our part D8, our part I38, and our part C14, and the hand crank that we just made, all ready to go. So what we're going to do is we're going to lift this up, and we're just going to stick this in there, just kind of like that, and set it down. Now the next part that goes on is an I38. So the I38 goes on right here. And very carefully, again, with your fingers and your thumbs, just push it down until it bottoms out. Now the next step with D8, we need to make sure that this is lubricated because it's going to mesh with other gears. So in your packet, you should have had a packet of wax. So take one of these wax sticks, pull it out. Now I've cut the corner off of mine so I can keep the other one in place. And very carefully, just go around and wax between each gear. Just like that, just rock it back and forth. Now this gives the gears some lubrication as they mesh together, because all of this is going to move. And if you have any rough spots, or if these are not lubricated, then you're going to have some real jerky motions in your puzzle. Okay, so I've gone all the way around that. That's fine. It doesn't hurt to just give a wipe on both sides also, since this is going to be wood to wood facing. Set that back down. Now I'm going to take my part D8, and it is going to go on those 2 part G1Es. just like that, and push it in until it bottoms out. Okay. Then we're going to take the other I-38, and it's going to go on this side. So it fits right there. All right. Then our last part is our last C19. This is going to lock everything in place, so it's going to be a little bit tough. There we go. And you'll notice that it came together right with those nibs right on the very end. So that's how that goes together. Now if you notice, now this is not stabilized yet, not until we get the next couple of parts put together, but this will turn and that gear will turn, and it'll turn the next gear. All right, so that is all of what we had for step 2 of the ROKR Chocolate Factory Marble Run LGA02, step 2. Our next video will be on step 2B. I don't think it's listed as 2B in the book. It is just the next step it precedes step 3. So step 2B, we'll call it, will be the next step. See you then. And don't forget to like and follow my channel. The more likes and the more follows I get, the more videos that I can make. See y'all later. Bye-bye.